everybody. Welcome to our session for Synergy of IoT, Blockchain, and Cloud Technologies. Today we are going to explore how these cutting-edge technologies integrate to drive innovation and efficiency in manufacturing and supply chain areas. Additionally, we have some specification roles of AI blockchains which they have played to revolutionize these technologies into the industry. So before we get into the question, I would like my panel speaker, Dr. Mustafa, to throw some light on these emerging technologies like AI, ML, IoT, blockchain, and cloud technology.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be with all of you this afternoon. I'm sure it was a very long day for all of you. I was walking to this room. I remember about 12 years ago, I came to Dubai, invited to speak about these emerging technologies at that time, like AI and blockchain, which we thought some few years ago, it is like a dream. And when I came and I spoke at that time about these emerging technologies, the groups, all the focused groups on the meeting or in the room, from doctors, nurses, and from healthcare. So I told them at that time, doctors, your job after 10 years will be at risk. And everyone at that time, they were staring at me and they couldn't believe, they think that I'm just kind of throwing something that cannot be believed in at that time. And I think this become today a reality. And in the future, it will become our lifestyle. So what we are witnessing today is absolutely tremendous transformation, and we have advancing in the technology, which covers not only IoT, blockchain, and cloud computing. There are other technologies like IVR, which we use also widely in the industries for simulation. And there are other technology which is going to be adopted in these coming few years. I am sure everyone here in the room is coming from the industry background, and they now either entrepreneurs or a company that they are trying to provide sort of this kind of solutions.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mustafa, for your valuable comments about these emerging technologies. Now, I would like, Wissam, if you also throw some light on these emerging technologies, especially ML, AI, and IoT, and their integration, something in the industry's processes.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Aamir, for starting this panel and introducing the rest of panelists. And I would like to thank GBB for organizing such an event and bringing such a wonderful audience for this event. Frankly speaking, I would like to say something at the beginning. I believe that the title is talking about emerging technologies. But you will be surprised that if we're talking about machine learning and AI, it's not an emerging technologies. AI has been in the market since 1959. And it's matured during, I believe, by 1979. And you will be surprised that the car, the autonomous car or self-driving car from Tesla that surprises us every day, it's been there since 1979. And the first car is made, I recall, by someone called like Adam James or something like that. In 1979, it's called Stanford Cart. And this car in this year navigated in a room that's full of chairs without any human intervention. So this is not a new science. It's been there for a while. The problem is that it was not ready enough for implementations or to have enough applications for it. And I think this is very important for us right now, that we're not studying the technology itself because it's been there. We need to study the application of these new technologies. So if you are not, or if you didn't start having applications for these technologies right now, trust me, will be left behind. You need to start, you need to move as fast as possible, because otherwise you will be left behind, you will not find a place in tomorrow. So this is how I see the AI and machine learning, that it's become like essential. It should be part of your life. You need to think about how can you utilize these new technologies in your daily work. And trust me, you will be surprised that it's available. You will find plenty of applications for it, and trust me, it will change your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Wissam. Thank you for such a valuable comments and history. Most of the people, I believe, at least I don't know about the history which you have just mentioned. Saqib, so I want some light you should also shed on these emerging technologies, especially cloud technology, and the usage of cloud technologies in the industry. So please.
Sure. Thank you, Aamir, and assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to take a little bit different approach, where I'll just do a little bit introduction and talk about some of the uses of these technologies in healthcare. Before I begin, just wanted to put all these technologies into perspective. And the example I want to use is the fourth industrial revolution. Whether we like it or not, we're in the midst of it. Now, for those of you who have not recently looked into the difference between the third industrial revolution and the fourth, in the third industrial revolution, we had computers, we had the internet, we had automation, which was, to Wissam's point, start of the AI. In the fourth industrial revolution, there is a fusion of physical and the cyber world. And a good example of that is your smart cities. And what is driving the fourth industrial revolution, the technologies that are playing pivotal role in the fourth industrial revolutions are the ones that we're discussing today. Now, when I talk about healthcare, similar to the fourth industrial revolution and some of the other industries, healthcare has been going through tremendous transformation. And at the heart of it is digitalization. So for example, it's moving away from acute care, which is reactive care. You injure yourself, you get sick, you go to the hospital, they give you care. So moving away from that mindset to more preventative and prescriptive care. It's moving away from human-led surgeries to robotic-assisted surgeries. It's moving away from human-based decision-making to data-driven decision-making. It's trying to find a right balance between care that is provided within the clinics to care which is provided at home. So more and more care that we can provide remotely and home, the more we can free up the bed space that we have in our clinics. And lastly, diagnoses. So moving away from completely human-based diagnoses to AI-assisted diagnosis, and surprisingly, the results of AI-assisted diagnosis are much higher percentage-wise than what humans can do. A few examples I want to dive into. The first one is mobility. COVID had fueled mobility factor a lot in healthcare. And by mobility, what I mean is ability for patients to connect with their physicians using mobile applications, using other omni-channel means, WhatsApp for Business, portals, etc., and has been fairly successful. And I wouldn't be surprised if most of you in this room have one or more applications that you use not only to gain access to your medical information anywhere at any time, but also able to connect with your clinician at your convenience. The second, and what has enabled the mobility, a huge role goes into cloud computing. Would have been very difficult for this to go mainstream had cloud not been available. The second area is telemedicine. This is where Internet of Things, Internet of Medical Things, plus cloud has enabled now telemedicine. The difference between using your mobile app for having interactions with your clinician is, and telemedicine is, in telemedicine, the clinician can virtually not only diagnose the type of condition or illness you have, but they can also help you with the treatment as well. So we support an oil and gas provider. They have a lot of remote locations, both onshore and offshore. It's very difficult if an emergency situation happens to go in, get the patient, and bring them into the hospital. So we have been utilizing telemedicine a lot. We have provided, most of our remote clinics, we have provided self-diagnosis tools that the patient can use or a clinician can use, send the information to the physician so that physician can make an informed decision. Mm-hmm. The other aspect is wearables, so IoT and wearables. Just show of hands, how many of you have Fitbit, Samsung? Here we go. So very prevalent. And it's interesting that this is fundamental to population health or preventative care. What we're doing now with this information is we're taking all of this into a centralized repository and using machine learning and AI algorithm, adding more information in terms of demographics, the part of the world we are in, the type of eating habits, the type of physical activity we have, genetics. We're taking all of that information and we're trying to predict what type of illnesses you may come across in the next 5 to 10 years. So that we can start working with you on a plan which can hopefully prevent or significantly reduce the impact of those illnesses. So that's where we're heading. And then there are many other use cases I don't want to dive into right now. The other aspect is business intelligence, which is, I think, fundamental need across all other industries. There, we're trying to build models that can take us from predictive analytics to prescriptive analytics and all the way to more of AI-based autonomous sort of predictability. Then going into 3D printing. So 3D printing is a very promising field in healthcare. The ultimate objective is to print body parts, limbs. A lot of research, successful research is going on. They have made headways, but it's still not mainstream. So what we're working on in healthcare is 3D printing customized parts. For example, a casket for your, if you're fractured or sprained your limbs, surgical instruments, and that is going fairly well. But we're hopefully in the future we'll be able to 3D print organs and body parts. So that's a very promising field. Robotics. So we have been for a while using robotic surgical instruments like Da Vinci robot, which is amazing technology. You do not need a single clinician inside the operating theater. The surgeon sits outside of the room. Surgery is performed, and in most cases, the patient is out of the hospital within the first 8 hours, versus the traditional method it may take patient 2 to 3 days to recover and then leave.
Saqib, thank you very much for such a detailed overview of these technologies. So I would like to ask some questions with you guys, and I will start with Mr. Dr. Mustafa Qurban. So, Dr. Mustafa, when we are going to implement these technologies, especially IoT, there are a few challenges we have to face for implementing these technologies in an integrated way with the IoTs. What are those challenges, and how we can address those challenges while implementing these IoTs and emerging technologies?
as we are advancing in using technologies, we're going to face issues like data governance, standardization of protocols between different platforms, as well as regulation required when we try to exchange the data across countries globally. It requires a global entity to create and form standards to govern the data. It could be started at locally and regionally as well, and then it can go across the border. Saying that, using the technology, of course, has some challenges, but as well as a lot of promises. In Kenya, for example, they partnered with IBM to use the blockchain to fight the counterfeit and to avoid the adverse events in malaria. The falsified or unoriginal drugs, it has been used and cause, according to the statistics, per year, 1 million deaths, particularly in the age of children. And the blockchain can be used to avoid these kind of issues in the healthcare. We are going to witness a disruptive healthcare. Healthcare is not going to stay as you today see it. In the future, in the very near future, the healthcare will be changed. Today, probably, we are talking about the 3D printing. We are talking about how can we utilize the blockchain in avoiding the adverse drugs. But the most significant thing that the healthcare can gain from these technologies in the future is to be able to save lives immediately.
Right.
This is the aim, and any business model going to be evolved around it.
Right.
The second thing that people are facing mainly is, and if you ask a patient that when they go to the hospitals and walk in, what are you looking for? What is the problem? What are you looking from the healthcare givers? Mm-hmm. They are looking for one main thing, is treating them with empathy. Mm. This is what is being reported in the research. So can the robots do that? Can AI do that? Yes, it can do. Through IoT, when we integrate and bundle all of these things together, and we put the aim, we will not compete with them. However, we're going to align them and utilize them to our benefits.
Right.
And unfortunately, what I see from the industry leaders today, what they are looking to utilize the technology. We are using the technology. Everyone is now wearing the Apple Watch or the Fitbit or a different sensors. These sensors now providing a lot of data, but is these data now being utilized to save lives?
Right.
Maybe the answer, not yet. Okay? It will, but it will take time. And when we try to exchange the data today, you have the Apple at your Apple Watch at your wrist. Try to send the data or receive the data from your medical file. Can you do that? Anybody can answer? No. Unfortunately, no. Maybe in some geographical area, I don't want to name the countries, but there are some areas that they can use, but not everywhere.
Right.
So this is something that we probably in the near future going to take. The investment, since a lot of industry leaders are here, the investment that expected in 2026 is 10 billion only on the IoT devices.
Right.
What they're going to provide to us, of course, they're going to provide to us the cost effectiveness, the operational efficiency, and faster delivery of accessibility.
Yes. Thank you very much. Dr. Mustafa. Wissam, I would ask you one question regarding nowadays industries are moving from traditional industry to the smart industries. So what role these AI, ML are having in converting the industries into the small industries, and how we can complement IoT, cloud computing, blockchain to convert our industry from traditional industries to the smart industries?
Okay, it's an interesting one and needs a lot of time to be answered.
Yeah.
Okay, I will capitalize. I will not be speaking about theories. So
Right.
I will be just discussing things that's in reality, things that I've been through, starting, or I was lucky enough being in different industries. So before being in ADIS, which is an oil and gas business, I've been the regional CIO for the United Nations, for example, for a while. So I loved what just Dr. Mustafa said about the saving lives. It's really an important aspect to save lives. I'm not a health, I wouldn't say that I'm a health expert. I'm having two giants next to me. They are talking about the health part. But in the United Nations, we've been focusing on this, and we are capitalizing on the technology to do the same, actually. For example, we have introduced the blockchain and used the blockchain technology to secure the transaction when we provided the financial aid to the Lebanese countries or Lebanese citizens or the people that require support. So in the old days, we usually provide the aids like financial, it's money, it's monetary value at the end of the day. So we decided that, or we found that it doesn't end up that people are utilizing the money in the right way. So we changed it. We found that technology will be able to help us in doing this using like digital cards, and these digital cards is secured through a blockchain network. So we are sure that all the transactions are controlled, secured, monitored, and tracked. So we are sure that the benefits is reaching the right beneficiary at the end of the day. Another implementation that we had to capitalize on using the new emerging technology in the United Nations, for example, as you know that many areas and many locations, it's very hard to reach during the disaster, especially if there is a flood. And I believe that Dubai had like a couple of days in the flood, and it was like a complicated days. So the problem is how to deliver. Imagine that a place that's been in this situation for months. How can you reach people? How can you provide the aids to people? In these periods of time, we capitalized on drones. So we were using drones to deliver aids to people in the middle of nowhere. You cannot imagine where we used to deliver these kind of aids to people. So we have many implementation or usage of this kind of technology to save people life. If we are moving, because I believe that the majority of people are just coming from the manufacturing and these services, there are plenty of opportunities to capitalize on these technologies. For example, quality control. There is an amazing application to monitor quality controls in industries using AI and machine learning and data collection and analytics in this part. And you will be surprised that this is not a new implementation. It's already in there. And you will be surprised that based on the latest results and report coming from PwC, it confirms that you have at least confirmed 20% savings when you are using artificial intelligence and emerging technologies in quality controls. Where this 20% is coming from? Number one, returning products. So they are minimizing the number of returning products during or due to having the proper quality control. Another implementation that's been there, and another from another company that I've been there, which is an automotive industry. We've been using IoT in our production lines. So we will be able to track the inventory, how it's moving around the facilities. We able to control and monitor the car, so we have the chance to see exactly at which place is the car on the assembly line, tracking all the manufacturing, so it enhances and impacts the production efficiency.
Right.
And I believe that for whom coming from these industries, you know quite well that production efficiency might impact your bottom line significantly. So it's like if you are having 2-3% savings in the production efficiency, you can just save fortunes at the bottom line and it can change completely your company.
Right.
So the concept itself, there are plenty of opportunities. It's already in there, so you are not inventing the wheel. You are not starting from scratch. I saw and I implemented myself plenty of these projects, and it's working like charm. And you can easily prove the return, because this is one of the challenges that all of you guys, especially the CIOs, always facing every day.
Right.
They need investment, they need capex,
Right.
and they need to prove the ROI of this project.
Right.
So today, it's there. You have plenty of reports coming from McKinsey, PwC that prove the cases, and you can show the numbers to your CFOs and your management, and definitely, it pays off.
Yeah. Thank you, Wasif, such a detailed information which you provided regarding these AI and ML technologies. So, Saqib, I would like to come to you. Dr. Mustafa also talked about the robotics and the sensors. So my question to you, how we can use IoT technologies and integrate with cloud technologies, and by this integration we can enhance, how we can enhance the efficiency of the companies in performing their daily business operations.
So I'm sure there are plenty of use cases depending on what type of industries you're in. But when we talk about healthcare, for example, one of the key advantages to the patients in terms of creating equity. So a majority of our population do not have access to quality care. So with the use of cloud and IoT, combine it with other digital means such as video conferencing, you're able to reach out to parts in remote areas, different corners of the world where they did not have access to healthcare before, and the part of the nation they're with do not have enough resources to provide those facilities. So number one, it creates equity for patients, or it has the potential to create equity, so that's one. In terms of efficiency, one aspect is we have, in every industry, you cannot have unlimited resources, but from a human and human money time perspective. So what do you try to do with this technology to take away not only mundane tasks, repeatable tasks, so that you can free up your clinicians to do more value-added type tasks. So technologies like robotic process automation and AI can help you free up from doing mundane, repeatable tasks. And then the other clear aspect is the other side of this is also preventative care. As I was mentioning earlier, we are, as part of our preventative care, we are looking into wearables that can detect vital signs. So one of the use cases we are working on is at oil rigs. You have deployments that can be 20 to 30 days. So the idea is to start collecting vitals, key vitals, and check for stress levels. Mm-hmm. So for example, the deployment is for 30 days. After day 21, the stress levels starts going up. Maybe for majority of the workers there, maybe it's time to relook at the scheduling. Right? So that's one of the use cases. And there are many others that you can apply.
Thank you very much. So we learned a lot about these emerging technologies. So Dr. Mustafa, I have a questions related the regulatory and the compliance challenges when we are going to implement these emerging technologies, especially blockchain, cloud computing, and ML and AI, right, in the industry. So what are those compliance and regulatory issues which any company can face while implementing these technologies?
Sure. Regulation is mandatory for any technology that we going to implement or adapt. And the regulation, as I said earlier, could be based on your entity within your organization. It could be within the government, or could be within a regional, like in GCC countries. Right. And just let me tell you a small scenario about how can, and everyone can share and think about how we can form a regulation of exchanging a data or information. If you wear a wearable device, and that device going to send to the cloud, and you don't know where is this cloud that they're going to collect your data. So number one, what we are thinking about, confidentiality. What about the patient confidentiality? What about your personal confidentiality? Today, our data, everyone, the data is somewhere. We don't know where are these data, but some people owns your data without your permission. Of course, you'll get them the permission, but they have it. So who regulate this so far? The other things, once the cloud computing, of course, the government, for example, they have a different type of interaction when it comes to implementation of the cloud. Some people or some organizations, they don't prefer to have a cloud implementation in their organization. They want to have their data on premise. So having the data on the premise requires a different types, sets of regulation to exchange the data between A organization to B organization.
Right.
And that is somehow requires a body to able to form this kind of regulation. Policy and procedures is changing according to the adoption. Once we are adopting different technology, we have to be ready. Unfortunately, these days, we come up with the technology and then we create the regulation and the policy procedure to follow. Right. And this is not correct, because you're going to have a lot of drawbacks. The very important thing in this regard, especially when I speak to the healthcare, we need to have a strategy and goal. What we require, there are so many technologies. Are we going to collect them all and throw them in our organization to say that we have the best of the breeds?
Right.
We have to understand what we want to do, and it has to be matched with the milestones to achieve the goals that we set in the beginning. Otherwise, any type of regulation that we form, it will not help. We don't want to have, let's say, hundreds of policies and procedures that doesn't serve us. Something, let's say, about cloud computing. What is the benefit of having a regulation about cloud computing if the organization, they don't need or they don't want to use the cloud computing?
Right.
So it has to be aligned with the usage, first of all. Second, we need to understand and protect the confidentiality of the, especially the patient. Right. Number three is how much of this data is allowed and not allowed to be seen. And as I said, in terms of technology, we have various types of technology. So what kind of technology is required? Maybe if I work in the private healthcare sector, my need will be different than when I work in the government healthcare sector. True or not?
Right, right.
So this varies. Therefore, it's very important at the beginning to understand and realize what we need to adopt and how we going to implement this. Then, what kind of regulation is going to help us?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mustafa, putting light on such regulations and challenges and compliance challenges. So, Wasif, I have a question. So, we have seen nowadays a lot of countries, they are developing some rules and regulation for using AI technologies and these other emerging technologies. So, in this context, how do you see the future evolution of IoT, blockchain, AML, AI, and cloud technologies?
Okay, just let's put it in context. I mean, why is the main reason for adopting technologies? Number one, I mean, again, I'm talking from the manufacturing, retail, which is normal business.
Right.
Number one, it's either, the first point is reducing cost. Number two is manufacturing or the operating efficiency. Number three could be reaching sustainability.
Right.
So these are the main factors that any organization would ask the CIO of the head of IT to seek about new technologies in order to adapt, in order to achieve one of these things. So when you are just trying to think about using the technology, you shouldn't be thinking about, okay, we have an emerging technology, then let's see how it fits. No, you should be thinking the opposite way.
Right.
So we can learn from how things are being implemented outside. So, for example, nowadays we can see Amazon. Amazon is building, and I believe that many might already visited these Amazon supermarkets.
Right.
It's 100%, it's based on the new emerging technologies. So you can just go there, you might not even see the product. So everything is on the screen, you select and check out, then you might find all things are ready for you. Everything is being done by IoT, so to track the items and the logistics. Everything is already running an analytics for you, an AI to analyze your needs and sort things even on the shelves. So everything has been changing already. So nowadays, the main operation that we used to have will be completely changed in order to, it's either to provide a better cost-saving models, or a better, or a more efficiency, or a more sustainable future. In the agribusiness, for example, we can see today plenty of agriculture companies are using IoT to track the health of the plants in order to reduce the water needs for the crops, in order to increase the yield of the crops.
Right.
So it's already in there, it's being used. And by the way, it might be like require an extra investment to be done today in order to achieve this. But trust me, tomorrow, these companies are the ones who will stay because they will be reaching a new level of cost optimization, a new level of production efficiency that no one else will be able to reach using traditional strategies.
Right. Thank you, Wasif. Saqib, my next question is related with the scalability and flexibility of the cloud technology in the industry, especially in the manufacturing industry or in a supply chain, right? So can you give us some example of scalability and flexibility of the cloud technology in various industries?
Sure. Before I dive into it, just a quick comment, what Wissam was saying, and absolutely true. These technologies are no longer just good to have for corporations. Now, these technologies have, I would say, direct correlation with the GDPs of countries across the globe. So this is not only a corporate problem or challenge, this is a nation state sort of challenge, and nations that will stay ahead of the game in terms of getting value out of these technologies will do well, not only financially, but in other areas, so soft image and influence. And nations who will not take these seriously or create hurdles in the adoption will struggle. In terms of scalability, the whole idea, one of the key selling point for cloud is scalability, be able to reach areas that were not possible before. So you don't have to physically keep expanding, not only getting more office locations, but you don't have to physically expand your physical data center space. Right. So the whole idea, whole main selling point is scalability for the cloud. If I look at, so that's one advantage. So if I look at healthcare, cloud has enabled a lot of collaboration which is required to do research. So for example, to create a lot of predictive models, it takes millions and millions of records to be collected all across the globe. So Johns Hopkins in the US, for example, is connected to 19 different registries across the globe. and all of that communication is done through the cloud. And that gives them access to over 512 million patient records, and that information they're collecting to do predictive and preventative analytics. If you apply that to other industries as well, I think the biggest advantage every industry can have in terms of cloud is scalability, but also cost reduction and reduction of administrative overhead as well. And also cloud, the other advantage of cloud scalability one is it's a platform where you can easily plug in and plug out other components and add and subtract to your systems that are running or applications running on the cloud on demand, which was fairly difficult to do in non-cloud related environments.
Right. Thank you very much, all of you. I have a lot of other questions to ask you guys, but we are running short of time, and I want to give opportunity to our audience if they want to ask some questions to our distinguished guests. So you are welcome. Please, anybody? Yeah, Mike, please.
I think we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Technologies which we have talked about, how are you seeing the user adoption of these technologies? Are you seeing challenges in adoption of this technology as well? Because all the investments that you're making ultimately have to percolate down at the business level. And how are you tackling learning and adoption?
Yeah, Dr. Musa.
Okay, let me answer you. Yesterday I was checking at the airport, and I told the lady that she's checking me out. Imagine the airport today without internet, and I don't have this mobile to retrieve my reservation and other logistics. What we do? She said the chaos. So that's one level of how we adopting the technology. To measure the adoption, first of all, we need to measure it on the level of citizen. That's why when I talked about the healthcare and exchanging the data and data privacy and security, whatever, number one, if we want to measure, we want to check the adoption level on the citizen level. So this is, if you make any investment and you want to see the return of investment and whether you are really investing wisely or not, see the number of the adoption level at your user. Of course, at the beginning, there will be some resistance for any kind of technology, and as we go along, it will be reduced.
Yeah.
If you allow me to answer this from a real case scenario, and it's exactly like what Dr. Mustafa said. What you are just saying is related to the change management, okay? And by the way, we had a real project in Addis, which is called an RIG-I. RIG-I is an AI analytics that analyzes the footage coming from all rigs, and it collects all the video streams that's running. Then it's analyzed it real time in order to identify if there is a risk of injuries or hazards that appear in the front of the screen. And it sends an immediate real-time alert to stop what's happening. So if someone and a rig crew is just staying in a place under a suspended load or in a wrong position, or he's not wearing his PPE or whatever, it might risk him, it will send an alert immediately. And when we implemented this system, the first thing that rig crew didn't want the system to be in place. They felt like this RIG-I is something that keeps looking what they are doing on the rig, and they keep like, it's like a big brother. So they started to fight, they started to do anything, okay, in order to stop this implementation. One day, an alert sent for a serious injury that's prevented because of this system. Next day, all the rigs that we have everywhere in Saudi were adopting this. So you need to prove the value, show the value, and sell the value. If they are convinced with the value, trust me, they will be the first people to support you and roll it out everywhere.
Yeah. Saqib, if you can also add some
Quickly,
points in
sure.
this one.
So I think it requires some mindset change, especially on IT professionals' part. I think times are gone when IT would get excited about a new technology, play around with it, and take it to the business and say, look how awesome is this technology. That approach doesn't work anymore. I think we need to now, the other approach is you talk to the business, you partner with the business, you understand their pain points, and then you collectively figure out what technology stack and what type of technology is going to address that pain point, and that approach works fairly well.
Yeah. Thank you, Saqib. Our time is up, and I am very grateful to all of you, Dr. Mustafa, Wasev, Saqib, for your valuable sharing experience with us. I hope audience learned a lot from your experience and the overviews you have given about these emerging technologies. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.